All right, so let's get started, and I'm just sharing my screen. Okay. So this is what we have been doing from last few days, right? Last 1 or 2 days. Right? So Docker pull, we pull the image. Then yesterday we understood that once you pull the image, we use Docker images command to see whether how many images have been downloaded. It will tell you all the details of your images which has been downloaded by Docker images command. Docker run command is a container command. Yesterday I told you Docker run command does multiple operations. It will initially do the search of the image on your local machine. If finds the image, it will create the container from that image. If the image is not available, it will go to Docker Hub and pull the image automatically. Once the image has been pulled, it will start the container from that image. So it does multiple actions, right? And going forward, we will be doing this single command only, all right? So Docker run command. And these are the arguments which we use. We use together hyphen dit. You can use in any order. So these are the things which we already know. Then Docker stop container. So you have to give container ID or container name, right? So this is how we can stop the container. Yesterday we launched a Nginx container, and we even tested the Nginx container with the default page published on the browser, and we all tested it. Then I stopped the container. Once I stopped the container, we were not able to browse the same container again because the container was down. So actually my Nginx application was running inside the container, and we were able to browse as a normal application. All right. So this is the power of container, which we have already seen yesterday. Docker kill command or Docker rm command. Normally we use rm command, but kill command is Unix command, and that also we can use, right? So you have to just mention the container ID or container name, and you can just kill the container. That means you can delete the container. RMI, Docker RMI is basically for images, right? RM is for containers, RMI is for images, right? And again, you can use always as a best practice, use image ID. Otherwise, you have to use image name and the tag, right? Most of the time, people forget the tag and they're not able to delete the images, right? So this is how we can use image ID and we can remove the images. These are the few commands which we yesterday we tested it, right? And this is the summary of the commands. If you guys are willing to take an assignment, this is a small assignment which you guys can just go and just do hands on it. Basically, it's for your hands on it. If you are able to do everything as mentioned in the assignment, it's very good. That means you are understanding Docker. If you are not, then I will do it tomorrow, right? So I'll spend few minutes on this assignment, quickly go through all the action points which are mentioned, and we will do it. All right.
Prashant,
So here, yeah,
Rajesh here.
yeah, Rajesh.
Da- Daily running notes and everything. Okay, we are reaching to the ops guys. Okay, till now we have not received the material or the running notes. Is there any
Is
issue
it
with them?
okay? I'm not sure. Even morning I checked with them. They said today they will be doing it.
Okay, for last from starting to till now we have not received anything. We have paid the fees also.
Okay, okay. So I'll check with them. Normally, what happens? 1 or 2 days, people they just want to try do a dry run with the trainer and understand the course and understand the pattern, and then they do registration. So few people might have done the registration. Few people are still in waiting list. They are still thinking whether to go with this course or not. All right. So 1 or 2 days we just ignore it. But I'm sending every day. So all the training material there in the repository. I think when most of the people will be onboarded or when they do the registration, they will enable all the access. It's there in the repository, but I'll again check with them. Thanks for the reminder.
No.
Okay, sure, sure, sure. So here, let me go through it. So you have to do the installation. I've already showed you. Just go through it and do the installation of Docker, right? So update command and install command and mention the exact docker.io package name for Ubuntu. Verify the installation. You already know how to verify the installation. There are multiple things you can verify. You have to spin up the hello world container. Docker will say hello to you. That is what you can do. And then you can go to Docker info command. If your Docker commands are working, that means your Docker is installed. And you can check the installed version by Docker version. So all that basic things, whatever you know, then you can do it. Then you can do image pull, image run, and all that thing. Then remove image, start container, stop container. All the hands-on thing you can do it here. After the Docker client is talking to server, right? Verify that Docker client is talking to server. How do you check? Rest by Docker version command. Then it will display both the version, client as well as server. And when you fire the commands, right, you should get the response also, right? The best command is hello world. Like Docker will say hello to you. That means you are sending a request to Docker that, hey Docker, start my container hello world, and Docker will respond back by saying hello from Docker. Alright, so that is the simple thing which you can verify, or you can even fire the Docker version command without hyphen sign or without single hyphen. Don't mention any hyphen sign, just Docker version. It will display. Right? What I mean to say is this thing. Alright, without any hyphen. When you display, it will display both the versions, client and server. And then run the Nginx web server. That is the one of the best example, one of the fastest web hosting application. So do some dirty hands by spinning up the Nginx container. Right, Nginx is basically a web server. Right, so spin up this Nginx container. If you have a database side, so spin up the database. If you not, then I will also spin up this database SQL. So basically these are the all images. So spin up some database containers also. And HTTPD is the Apache web server, right? Take a couple of things. I mentioned few things, Nginx, MySQL, and HTTPD. You can also just spin up all these containers and see whether you are able to do that, right? Then run all of them in detached mode. That means in background, right? So you have to use hyphen D, right? As I said, hyphen DIT we always use. So use that, because normally what happens when we say hello world, we don't mention all that thing, all these arguments and all that thing. And hello world is a very small content, it will just display the message. And you see all the messages it points, right? So step one, client is sending request to server daemon. Then step two, the server daemon is pulling the image. Step three, the daemon is streaming out the output to the client. All that it will display all the thing. But if you use when hyphen D, it will not display all the thing. It will only display whatever you are saying. Okay, Docker PS, it will just display the status. That's it. But if you don't mention hyphen D, it will display all the things, whatever things it is doing in the background, and your screen will be full with all the details of that. So initially it is fine, but in the long run we use always hyphen D. All right, because we don't want to see all that. We already aware. All right, so just do all that thing. Name the container by your name, right? So it's been a one container where you have to give your name, right? So that means you are assigning names to the container, right? I already use hyphen name, right? Same way you can also use your name or any name which you want, but you should use a specific name to the containers. Verify that all containers are running and check the status, right? So you already know how to check the status of running container, Docker PS command, right? Or Docker container ls command, and then start stop all that you do and keep on changing the status, right? So docker ps hyphen a, it will display all the status. Or just go to docker info maintains all the statics, right? How many containers, and inside that is the container, how many containers are running, how many containers are stopped, all that it will display, how many images have been pulled, all that thing. So do all the dirty things. This is basically just basic things, right? Not that tough thing, just basic things, so that you guys can start with hands-on thing. Just a small assignment. Verify by Docker container ls, Docker ps, Docker images, right? And clean them with the Docker stop command, Docker rm command, Docker rmi for images, right? All that thing, basic command which we already did. Just do a hands-on thing. It's just a small, simple exercise as an assignment. Just take this forward, and I hope you should be able to do it, because that is how we have already built that knowledge. Now we know the basics of Docker, right? And everything is CLI, command line, right? So it's not a big deal, right? Because we are not doing any coding here. All right. So far, so good. So let's go with committing changes in Docker container. So yesterday we did all that thing by going inside the container, right? So I'll just quickly run through the steps, and then we will do something more, and then we will make the changes also. We will make our changes permanent by committing the changes, right? So how we do commit and how we will be uploading the image, all that thing. So we'll take some use cases today. So that's the agenda of today's session. All right, committing changes to Docker container. Now here yesterday what we did, we start the ubuntu container, right, from the ubuntu image, right? And you can take any versions. I believe yesterday we took 20.0 for a specific version of ubuntu. That image we started the container. All right, let me use the pointer for better visibility. Right, so yesterday we started the ubuntu container. Once you start the container, what we did, we went inside with the shell, right? This is the symbol of the shell, right? So once we go inside the container, because my container, we have not installed anything. So I won't be seeing any folder structure, any files locally on my machine, because nothing has been installed. We have just started the container. And then to see everything, we have to be inside the container, because outside you cannot see anything. It's just like an enclosed box, right? It's an container. Everything is inside the container, right? So once you go inside the container, you can do all the operations, whatever you want, right? So you can do inside the container, you can even do the installation. I can go inside the container and I can do the installation of Apache server. right? That means HTTPD server I can load in this Ubuntu container. Yesterday somebody asked, and our time we already hit the hour. Then I said we will do it tomorrow, right? So today we will do this part, right? So we'll start one container. We go inside the container, and I'll be doing the installation also inside the container. Once I do installation and all that thing, right? So this will be stored temporarily until unless I do a commit, right? Something like git commit, right? In git commit, what happens? Whatever changes you are making to your code, right? And those changes you want to store or you want to save it permanently, you have to do commit. Once you do the commit, it will it will be saved. Your changes will be saved, and it generates some metadata also. That means who has who has made the changes, that author name or that username will be stored, what date, what time, which path, which file, all the details it will capture automatically as a metadata. Same way, Docker commit also similar to Git commit, we use Docker commit because in Docker all commands begin with Docker. So Docker is my main command, and we will use sub command as commit, right? So this is something new command we will learn today. And once I save my changes, Docker understands only one format, that is image format. So it will save into the image because container is runtime, right? Container is runtime, right? I have to start the application, then only my container will be up and running, right? Otherwise, so who's maintaining the source code? It's image. And when I start the container, from where it will start? From the image, right? So whenever I make a commit, Docker will save all the changes into an image. And this image, you can give new name also, right? You can give, if you use the existing name, it will override the previous name with the all the things it will save with the same name. That means previous things plus this thing will be there inside the same image, or you can give new thing also. Once I have this image, I can upload this image on my repository. So next time I can take this image and whatever application. So inside Ubuntu now Apache is there, and I can distribute it to anyone, right? Whoever will download this image and start the container, they will find both the things inside the container. Why? Because I already made the changes as a permanent. So because I did Docker commit, right? Yesterday we didn't commit. That means as long as my container is running, my changes will be visible to me. If I stop container, again start the container, still my things will be visible. But in case if I delete my container, right, all the changes will be lost, right? Because I have not saved anywhere and I've deleted it, right? Once you delete the container, right, in the image, because in the image only the previous things are there. Whatever recent changes you have made, those things are not saved, and you deleted it, so it will not get whatever you have made the changes. It will not get it because you have not saved it, and you will lose all the changes, right? So we have to do commit. Yesterday we didn't do commit, all right? And what is the thing? To go inside this container, you have to remember one thumb rule. The rule is your container should be up and running. If your application is not up, right, there is no chance we can go inside the container because container is always a running instance. So my container should be up and running. Yesterday I showed you, I stopped the container. I was trying to use Docker exec command and I was not able to go inside. It was throwing an error saying that your container is not running. That means that is the thing you have to remember. Your container should be up and running, then only we can go inside. All right, so all that we will be doing it today. All right, so how we will do today, right? I'll show you. So there are a few more slides, additional slides, right, which just I want to show you. So you have to first pull the image, right, or you can directly start the container using Docker run command, right? And then what you have to use? You have to use Docker exec command, Docker execute command. We have to use to access the container, running container. All right. So this is the command, Docker exec, right? And here we use IT, interactive terminal session, right? Drop the letter D, D mean teacher. We don't want to use in background. We want to use, right, hyphen E, hyphen IT, right? But not the background, right? And then container ID or container name, and always use the shell, right? Because we want to go inside the container. Docker already comes with a shell, right? And this shell will help me to do some actions while I'm inside the container. Maybe I want to create folder, maybe I want to create files, I want to do some installation, I want to remove application, I want to do some customization. All that I can do with the help of bash. Bash is the default shell of Unix so that I can fire all the commands, right, on the Unix environment, and I can fire all the commands of Docker because container is running on Docker. So all that will, who will help? This bash will help. So any container, whether your Nginx container or your MySQL database container or any other container, right? This is the default syntax to go inside the container. So Docker exec hyphen IT, and only what will change in future, the name or ID will change, and then use bash. As I said, old applications, they are using SS shell, but all modern applications, they use bash, and both the shells are available, right? So we'll practice both the things, all right? So once you go inside the container, right, it will not display the IP address of your host machine on which you have installed Docker. What it will display? It will display the container ID. So you will see it will automatically switch to container ID, not with the host ID. All right. So all that we will do, and then what you have to do inside, you can do all these commands. You can do update, you can do install. So I'm installing Apache 2 application inside it, inside the container. When I'm inside, you see I'm still inside the container, right? This AB21899B0512 is my container ID, right? And I'll be firing all these commands. So we'll do the installation today, right, by firing all these commands. Once I do everything, I have to do Docker commit. All right. So this slide I will visit again. Let me go through it, right? And then we will come back to this slide. So everything is captured in the slide, right? So don't worry about it. All right. So let's get started. So I recently just did the installation of Docker, and let me increase the font size a bit. All right, 150. Okay. So what I can do here, let me go and start one container. Docker run -dit, give some name to this container, hyphen name. All right, give any name, right? So you can give any name to this container. I just want to give, let's say, starfish, right? Of this container, my container name is starfish. And then which image? Let's say Ubuntu, right? And you can use anything. So let's say Ubuntu latest, right? If you don't mention it, will pull the image Ubuntu latest, right? So Docker run command, what it will do? First, it will do the search on my local machine whether this image Ubuntu latest is available or not. And then if it's not available, it will pull the image. Once the download is done, it will immediately start the container from that image. So it will do all the actions in the background. So let's see. And I'm using -d, so you will see all the actions in the background. So you see, unable to find this image, Ubuntu latest locally, then what it will do, it will pull the image with the tag latest because I haven't mentioned anything. So by default, it takes the latest tag. And then here you see the status downloaded the image of Ubuntu latest, and immediately it will start the container. Right? Now, difference between the image ID and container ID. What is the difference? That image ID will always be denoted by SHA-256 and then the image ID. Right? Container ID will be just plain. Right? Just the plain ID that is your container. This is the basic difference. Right? Now, let's verify everything. So, I will first verify my Docker images. So, this is the Ubuntu with the tag latest. This is my image ID which has been downloaded, right? And then this image was uploaded 2 weeks ago on my Docker that we have downloaded. This is the size of the image. And we have started the container because Docker run does multiple things. So if you see, my container has been started and this is the container ID, that beginning 12 digit from the image Ubuntu. This I'll tell you, right, today or maybe tomorrow we'll discuss about it, right? And then this container I just created from this image 53 seconds ago. What is the status now? Is it still running or not running? Is it still up and running? From last 51 seconds, it is running. Port number, we haven't put any port number and it's an internal operation, that's fine. And then this is the name of my container, which I've just given the name in my command, right? Hyphen name, I've given starfish. All right, so this is the name of my container. Right now, to go inside this container, what is the command? Docker exec command, and instead of dit, always use -it, interactive terminal session. Then you can use the name. Let me use name starfish, right? And as I said, what we have to do, we have to use a shell, bash shell, right? So now I'm inside the container. You will see this ID, right? Which container? This ID, right? So let's say you are running 10 containers, you can explicitly mention the name, right? And that ID, particular ID, where which container you want to go inside. Now I want to go inside the starfish. So it will display the ID of starfish. So this is the ID of starfish. All right. Now if I do ls and anything, I should be able to see full-fledged code, right? All the folders, right? Everything I will be able to see when I'm inside the container. All right. So this is what is there, and then you can do whatever you want. So yesterday we created some directory, right? So let me create one directory called demo123. All right. And when I do ls, so right, so it's arranged in chronological order, alphabetical order. So hyphen, right? So b d and then e. So somewhere here, right? So demo123 folder is created because I just did. So all the actions we can do, and that is the power of shell. So whenever we go inside the container, always go with the shell, right? If you don't mention shell, it will throw an error because it will say, I cannot let you in. It will go inside with the shell, and once it will let you in, you can do all the actions on this shell, right? So both way, to go inside also you need the shell because Docker doesn't understand this exec command, right? Until unless you mention the bash. So this is the syntax you should remember. All right, so we are inside this container. We created the folder, right? Let me see, anything is there here? Nothing is there. All right, so let me create one file, right? Echo command means I can write anything into the file, right? So anything we can write. So welcome to, just a simple message. You can put any message and redirect this output to some file. All right, let's say docker.txt. All right, so this is the file I've created. So what is my file name? Docker.txt. Can I see the content of this file? Docker.txt is nothing but welcome to Docker. All right, now, right, let me do some installation also, right? So, and all the things you can do, you can go back to the previous path, you can do ls, you can go inside some path, all that you can do, right? So what I'll do, I'll do some installation, right? So apt get update, right? You can use apt also. It will, by default it will take the update apt get command automatically. Apt is the shortcut of apt get. Apt get is full command, and if you just write apt again, it is nothing but apt get only. So both way you can do, but I'm using full command. So you see, I'm able to update. All right. And why we are doing update? For any installation, as a best practice, we should update the index and then do the installation so that in the index here everything, all the files will be right. It will maintain the full repository, full list of the things, and the new installation will also be part of your list. All right. And then you can install anything. So let's say I want to install HTTPD server, right? So the package name is Apache 2. All right, and always say -y so that it will not ask you any question, and silent it will do the installation. Let's try. So I'm inside the container and I'm doing all these things. I'm making all these changes. All right. So I'm still inside the container. You see, this is my container ID. I'm still inside the container. Right. Now let's check what installation we did. Apache 2, right? So I will use Apache 2 and -b. This is the version it has installed. Right. Apache it has installed, and this is installed, right? Today's date and time. Not today's date and time. What is today's date? No. Okay, this is the built version, right? So recently, right? So December 20, no, 26th October 2023, from that image we have installed this thing. And this is the version of Apache we have installed, 2.4.52. This is the version of Apache we have installed, right? Can I check the status of this thing? So service, right? Apache is web server. So we have to check the status. So Apache 2, and what is the status? So Apache 2 is not running, right? Apache 2 is not running. Can I start this, my application service? Service name is Apache 2. This is my service name. Service name is Apache 2, and I want to start the service, right? So it is trying to start the service. Can I check the status now? Right now, you see, I have just pulled the status and my Apache 2 is up and running. My web service is running. Right, so everything I did inside this container, right? I created one folder, right? I created one folder, this demo 123, right? Make dir container this folder. Then inside this I created one file, right? Docker.txt, that is simple text file. Welcome to Docker, some simple message I put inside that file. And then I did some installation also, right? Full application I installed inside this container, right? Let me exit from here. Once I exit here, I'm back to my console, my machine console. Okay. Now see, my Docker PS is running from last 7 minutes, right? So we went inside, we did many operations, right? We created directory, we created 4 files, we did installation, right? We started the services, everything. All right. So this is the power of Docker. Always we use Docker exec command. Just remember, right? And always use bash shell, right? So this is the thing. We have done so many things. Now, if I remove this container, if I do rm -f and this starfish, right, I lose all the changes, right? Because my Docker image, right, is having old thing, right? Whatever the 2 weeks ago, image, right? My changes are still not saved. That means my changes are still in cache, right? In temporary memory. It is not saved permanently because I have not saved anywhere, right? So as long as my container is running, you will be able to see all the changes, right? You can go inside this container, right? You can check all the things, right? What is the container name? Let me use ID this time. So this is my container ID. Are you able to hear me, guys? Am I audible to you? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Oh, fine, sure. Thank you. All right. So we are inside this container, right? And this container is still running, so I'll get to see everything. Whatever things I did, I would be able to see everything. Let me say cat inside this demo 123, right? There's one file called docker.txt, right? So I would see everything. This is the content of the file, right? And what is the status of my Apache? So service is Apache 2, and what is the status of this service? This is still running. All right, because we did installation and manually we started the service, right? Since it's not a container, manually we did installation, right? So all that thing is there inside this container, right? As long as this container is running, this container is up and running, I would see all the things, right? And this container is running since last 9 minutes, but I haven't changed anything, right? So always remember, whenever your work is finished, right, you have to always use Docker commit command, right? So this is our Docker container. So what is the syntax of Docker commit, right? You have to save. It's like git commit, right? Git commit, but instead of git we are using Docker, because in Docker all command begins with Docker, and Docker understand by Docker command only, not by git commands. All right, so we have to use explicitly, we have to use Docker commands. So Docker commit, what I have to commit, I have to commit this container. All right, I have to container this container, so you have to use container ID or container name. All right, that is what you have to use. So let me use the container name, right? Starfish, anything is fine, right? Because this name is attached with this ID, and this ID is attached by name, right? It's just a synonym. So name is given to this ID, or this name is having some ID. It's other way around, or right? We can use anything. So I'm using the name for our ease, right? So I'm using the name. So I want to commit this thing, and whenever you do commit, right? Always remember, whenever you do commit, you have to always use your GitHub ID first, right? Because Docker Hub, right? Docker Hub is our registry server, all right? Docker Hub, right? So hub.docker.com. So this is the repository, but what we are saying here, we are saying this is our registry. We have to register. So whenever you register, you have to use your ID. This is my ID. All right, this is my ID. So you may have your ID. You have to use, especially you have to use your ID if you are trying to upload this image into this registry, right? So today we'll do understand that part also. So let me go back. All right, so always use, this is my ID. All right, Piparia09 is my ID, right? And then give any name. Let's say starfish. If you want to give some versioning, right, put colon and give some versioning. Let's say I want to give 1.0.1, right, or 1.0, anything, right? Is up to you what version you want to give. All right, let's say this is the thing I want to do. So you have to commit your changes, then it will be saved, and this is your container name, and whatever you give, this is the image, because Docker understand only image form. So all the source code plus your changes, what changes you did, you created folder. Inside folder, you created one file called docker.txt, and then you did installation. You installed one whole lot of application. Which application? Apache 2 application you have installed. So all that will be now saved inside this image, right? So now if you just go and see Docker images again, right? So you see this is this is the name of my image, right? This is the name of my image, P per year, starfish, and I given the tag also. 1.1.0 is my tag, right? And then this is the image ID, and you see it just got created 27 seconds ago created. Previously, this was the size of the image. Inside this size, I have loaded many things. Right? I've created file, folder, and I have loaded one application also, which is Apache 2. Again, a web hosting server, full web hosting Apache 2, very, very popular, right? HTTP server is the Apache 2 application, which I have posted inside this thing. So everything is now saved. Why? Because I did a commit, right? I did a commit. Can I push this image on this Docker Hub so that people can download on this registry server? Can I do that? Yes, I can do that. What you have to do here, what you have to do, right? You have to just first log in, right, from command line, because this is your Linux machine, right? And this is a browser. See, I am doing manually on browser. I've logged in, I did all the manual thing. But from console, this guy doesn't know. So what you have to do, you have to always first do login, right? Docker login, right? If you are using Docker Hub repository, right, no need to mention the path. It will by default go to Docker Hub, right? But if you are using your some registry, then you have to mention your registry, right? Whatever your registry name, right? You have to put URL of your registry. It will go to your registry, right? Anything, right? Then it will ask you the credentials of this registry, right? It will ask you credential for this registry because you want to log into this registry, right? But for Docker Hub, we need not to give, right? Because this is our by default. I want to upload on Docker Hub, right? And this is the command. Always remember, right? In when you are in Docker, all commands should be followed by Docker only. Docker is my main command. All right. So Docker and say login. The moment you say Docker login, so what it's displaying here, it will display some key message here. Just read through this message. Login with your Docker ID to push or pull the image from Docker Hub, right? As I said, by default, it will go to Docker Hub. If you do not have a Docker ID, head over to https://hub.docker.com and create one, right? This is the URL, which is same like this, hub.docker.com, right? So it is saying me the same thing that if you have not created, right, head over to this thing and create one, right? We already have. If it's there, it will ask you for the username. So just enter the username. I know my username. This is my username, right? And then it will ask me the password, right? Password, you have to keep on entering the password. It will not display the asterisk characters, right? It will not display, right? For some confidential reason, right? It will not display. So keep on entering the password. Once you enter correct password, it will say login succeeded, right? If you make a mistake, no problem. Again, go to Docker login, right? And then it will display again username and password. Since I'm logging successfully, so it is saying that, okay, your login was succeeded last time. All right. So you have to find if you make any mistake, right? Use this command again. Again, it will ask you username and password. If you again made some mistake, right? Again, use same command. It will again ask you username and password, and that time give the correct username and password so that it will let you in. All right. So my login is succeeded. All right. Now, what I want, right? Whatever things we have created, Docker images, this thing I want to upload. This image I want to upload because I make some changes. I customize few things, right? And then we can upload this image, right? So to upload this image, right, we will use push command. Push means upload, pull means download. So I will use push command. What I want to push? I want to push, right? So you can use full name and along with the tag, or you can use ID also, no problem, right? I can mention the ID, right? That is the reason the IDs are always helpful, right? When we do some actions or some commands, IDs are really helpful. I'll not use ID. Let me use this full name instead. Let's copy, paste, :1.c. Right? Now it is trying to push because I already log in. If you don't log in, it will hit an error. Right? But I did in a systematic way, and don't worry, all these information is captured in my slide. I'll show you the slides also. So last time you saw the message pull, 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 but now you will see the message push. All right? If you will see the message and says it is already pushed and mounted to your this thing, right? So it has mounted to this thing, and this image is uploaded, right? So how do you verify? Just go to your Docker Hub and verify. So this is my Docker Hub, right? And now let me refresh. Right? When I refresh the page, you see the starfish, right? Right? Less than a minute ago, this image is now uploaded successfully on my registry server, right? Docker Hub is my registry server, right? So how do you know? Just click. There are so many things, right? 2 months ago, 7 months ago, right? 1 year, right? All that thing, right? 2 year ago, all that thing. Because I've been doing a lot of trainings and all that thing, so it's there from the past maintenance, and it's my private registry, right? It's of my own registry, right? Basically, it's a repository, but you have to register, so we say registry, right? If you want to create one more registry, this is my registry already by this name, right? You want to create, we can create it, right? So let me first go ahead, then I'll show you other things. All right. So all these are my public registry. If you see here, these are public registry, and this was downloaded 11 times. This was downloaded 21 times. This was downloaded 3 times. This was downloaded 6 times. This was just nobody downloaded because we recently just now we uploaded it. Nobody has used it. Right. So it maintains the download history and all that thing. Once you click here, this is the image it has come. If you want to give some description, just click on this edit button and you can write whatever you want to give as a description. So this is my Ubuntu latest image having demo. Anything you can put. I'm just giving some appropriate description. Having demo 23 folder as my test folder, and it is loaded with HTTPD web server, right, which is my Apache server, right, Apache 2, right, anything, right. So if you want to give some description and all that, we can always give some description on that. So it is allowing with some characters, so that is why this button has gone. So what I can do, having okay, right, and then do update. So whatever description you give, it will have the, and you can edit any point. You can edit later also, right, and add something, right, 1 2 3 again, right, it will do, right. So you can do that thing, right. So let me cancel this guy, right, and tag, right. This is the tag I used. This is the tag I used, right. So it will display everything, right. You can further do whatever you want, right. This image is still in my private. I have not made it as a public view, right. You can make it public view and then it will be publicly available, but currently it is in my private, right. I have not made it public as this image, so this will be visible only to me, right. Nobody else can see, but if you want to see, other people can also see. You have to just make it public view. The moment you make public, it will become public, otherwise it will always stay as a private. All right, now it is public, right. Anybody will come to this id and starfish, they will see this image, and when they click on tag, is there any tag is attached, you would see the tag is also here. 1.0 is my tag, right. And when did I create it? This is created just not today. All right, and if somebody wants to pull this image, right, they can see it, right. So I can just copy this command. All right, so let me go back, we will do some testing and we will come back. So what we did, we push this image, so I can do cleanup now. All right, so docker ps, right, let me remove. What is the command to remove the container? Rm, all right, hyphen f, because I don't want to stop. In one case I want to remove it, so starfish, right, I want to delete. Now if I want to say docker ps again hyphen a, nothing is there, so that means all the containers are gone, right. Now what about my images? So docker images, right, let me remove all the images. So docker rmi for images, and let me remove all the images. So we paste. I want to remove this image also, everything. We give one space and then give, we can give multiple things, right? So this image, one space, another image ID. So like that we can do. So now if I just go and check, so one image is still there. Why it's not deleted? Now it is deleted. Now let me check. Right? Nothing is there. That means no containers, no images. Nothing is there. Absolutely free. Hyphen all or whatever you do. Right? Yes, hyphen all. Nothing is there. Docker images. Nothing is there. Right? Now let me verify whatever image we have uploaded. Let me verify this image. Right? This image we just now uploaded 4 minutes ago. Right, when did we update this image? Just 4 minutes ago we uploaded. So let me use this command and let's see. I'm just verifying whether last time what we did Apache installation, we created folder, we created file, all that let me verify. So I'll use this command. So copy, paste, right? But it is saying pull, right? Why should I pull, right? I'll give it to run command. Run command will do all the things. So docker run -dit -name. Give any name. Let's say James Bond 007. All right, is the name of my container, and from this image, all right, from this image, right, because this image has Apache 2 installation also. It has some demo 123 folder. Inside that I've created one test file. All right, so I want to get everything whatever previously I did from this image, right, because I have saved this image. We committed the changes into this image. So I want to start a container from this image. So see, I'm able to download, and it has created the container, right? So my container ID should be something 54 E0 something something, right? Let me go and see Docker PS. So this is my container ID coming from this guy. Yes, it is. All right, this is the ID, right? So my container created from the image. Which image? The image which we built, right? Which we committed last time with the few changes, right? And it is up and running, all right? So let's see, right? And if you say Docker images, right, only this image, right, not the previous image Ubuntu and all that thing, right, my image was this and I created this image 12 minutes ago, right, that image it has pulled and it has started the container. Can I go inside this container, right? Yes, I know the command docker exec, and let me go in and verify everything. So docker ex, and what is the name? 007. You can use ID or name, right, whatever is convenient you can use, right? So I'm using the name here, right? So docker exec, this is my container ID 007, and as I said, always use shell. So bash is our default shell, so I'm using it. And now see, I'm inside the container, right? Which container? This is the ID. I'm inside this container, right? Last time we committed the thing. Will you get the changes and everything? You see my demo folder is visible to me, right? Can I go into this folder demo 123? Let me go in and do ls. So this is the file, it is here. Can I just go and display the content? So everything is intact, right? Whatever work has been done previously, I'm able to see it because we committed our changes. All right. So this is what about my Apache, right? Apache 2 version, right? So my Apache 2 is also is inside this image, right? Last time we did installation and my Apache 2 is there. What about my Apache? Is it up and running, right? I'm not sure it is up and running because we haven't started the service. So let me check the status of our service Apache 2 status, right? Let me check, right? It is not running, right? But we know how to make it start, right? Make it up and running by using the start. So it will start the service Apache 2 by the start command. And now if I go and check again, right, I want to go and check the status, right? I just want to go and check the status and my Apache 2 is done. That means this time I have not done anything, right? I have not done anything, right? Everything is coming from the image, right? So we can go inside the container. You can do whatever you want. But remember, you have to do commit. If you don't do commit, as long as container is running, all the changes are temporarily visible to you. But the moment you delete the container and you start the new container, right? It will start the container from the old image because your changes are already lost. Nowhere your changes were saved and you will not get the changes. Right? For that you have to do docker commit. Alright? And then I showed you how to upload the image also. Alright? So always use this ID and then you can upload. Right? So in 2019, we did one project for IBM. Alright? IBM gave one project to us and that project for 1 year. Right? IBM said they gave all their installation, manual installation. They wanted to convert into container images, right? So they gave the list of right operating system, Ubuntu, then CentOS and all that thing, right? That was their base image, and they say, okay, load this application. They wanted to create container images, and they provided the list, right? So that is how we build these images like this, and we push to their IBM repository, right? And there was testing team who was pulling the image and starting and verifying it, right? So multiple people we were deployed and we were just building the images for IBM and their project for 1 year, right? So this is a similar project that we did, right? So that is how you should also know. Let me take one quick example also. Any questions guys so far? Did you understand what we did? All right, let me go back to my slide. Are you still connected or I'm talking to myself? Because I'm not.
Yes, yes. Yes, Prashant.
Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so what we did, right? So this is how we can go inside, and when you exit the container, right? When you exit the from container, you should save your changes by using the commit command, right? The save container will be converted into an image, right? Because Docker understand only one format, right? With the name specified, whatever name you give, right? In my case, I gave starfish, right? It's very weird name, but I use the starfish name, right? So you can also use the same name. What was the command? Docker commit was the command, and your container in which you have made the changes, that container, right? User should give container ID or container name, right? I use container name, right? And then you should use your Docker Hub ID, right? You should use your Docker Hub ID, and then slash, you give whatever name you want to give, right? Name, image, whatever you want to give, you can give, right? So Docker commit, this is my container ID, this is my ID, and you can give any one, right? App1, I have given simple name in this example, and it will save, right? And SHA-256 is what? Image ID. Like container ID is without SHA-256. The plain ID is container ID, but image ID will always be SHA-256. So you should also get that new image will be saved by this ID. And when you say Docker images, you should see the P Priya app one, whatever name you have given here will be visible as a, if you have not given any tag, it will take by default latest tag, image ID, time and size, everything you should be able to see, right? And then only thing you have to remember, the username has to match with the username of your Docker Hub ID, right? The user ID should match, right? Because this is the registry server, right? Though it's a repository, you have to register by your name because people might be using the same name. App1 is a common name. Millions of people are accessing this repository. So it should be followed by your ID, that who is the author, who is the owner, right? So you have to give your ID. So this is the format Docker follows. And once it does, you have to do what you have to do. First, you have to do login. Docker login, right? And you say Docker push and that image name which you want to push, it will be pushed, right? So you should say Docker login. It will ask you username and password. As I said, it will not display any asterisk characters. You have to keep on giving the correct password. If you make mistakes, right? If you made an error, again fire this command. It will again ask you username and password. And once the login is succeeded, just use Docker push command. All right, Docker push command, and it will be pushed, right? You should get this message pushed. All right, so it will push onto the repository. All right, this is what. So let me take one more example, right? Since we are already in the flow, let me take one more example. So what I will do, right? I'll create one more container, Docker run -dit as usual. This is the standard thing, right? This is the standard thing, right? If you buy it also, that okay, you should not forget. You can buy it also and you can remember, right? No problem, right? Hyphen name, right? And give me some name, right? So I will use some container name here, right? So let's say any container name we can use, right? So I can give a create, let's say India123, right? India123 is my container name, right? And then let's use anything. If you want to use port number also, let's say 80:80, and our favorite Nginx, right? Let me use Nginx version, which image, let's say 20.0 is available. Let me see. So Nginx 1.22, let me use. I'm audible, right, guys? I'm very fine because I'm using different
Yes,
headphones, so that is why I'm
yes,
verified
yes.
again and again. Yeah, don't feel bad because otherwise I'll be talking to myself only. Okay, so we have done this thing. Now let me go and verify Docker images. So this is the Nginx image which has been pulled. The version is 1.22, and this is 10 months old ago. Somebody uploaded on Docker Hub. That image we have pulled. This is my image I pulled, so you will see today's date and time, right? 22 minutes ago, which we pulled this image, right? So now we are doing same thing but with a different image. All right, so let's come here. Docker PS. All right, so we have Nginx 1.22 is this container, right? This container ID. What is the name? India123 is our name, right? So let me use everything with the ID this time, right? And this is the second use case which I picked up. All right, I want to go inside this container because outside it's meaningless. I will not see anything from outside, so I have to be inside. And I am using this time my container ID of Nginx. And as I said, always use bash, right? So I'm inside this container. Which container? Not the 54E0, but 05E63C, right? Because I mentioned explicitly this container. So out of two, I am inside this container, right? And you see, this is the source code of this container, right? And Nginx, right? So let me show you some files and folder here. So if you go to users, this folder I'm inside, okay? This folder. And if I say thing, so let me go to the share folder, this folder, share, and you see Nginx, right? So we are here in this folder Nginx. If I go to this Nginx, right, and if I do ls, this is the default HTML page which we saw yesterday, right? So if I go to this HTML folder, there is one file called index.html file, right? If I open this file index.html, right, this is the message, right, we got yesterday. Welcome to Nginx. And if you see this message, these are all HTML tags, right? Don't get confused. All right, so everything's from here, right? If you want, we can modify this file also. All right, we can modify this file also, right? So let me see if I can modify. I'll use echo command. Welcome to world's fastest web server. All right, and then I'll redirect output. I'm overwriting using the same file, right? Now if I do cat, right, this is the message it will display. All right, this is the message it will display, right? So let me exit from here, right? And this is the ID. So I'll go to my Docker, right? So go to details, security group. Security is here. Then go to security group. Right, this is the security group we have, right? Security group. So port 8 is already open yesterday I'm using. So let me go quickly and pick the, basically what I've done is I basically increase the font size. So that is why all are big letters, right? So what I want just public IP so that I can access this container. All right. Public IP, come here, paste this public IP here, and what port number? Port 80. Right. So this message has been changed. I modified this message. Welcome to the world's fastest web server. All right. This is what I modified it inside the container. All right. So if you want to test with me, let me put it on the chat. Colon 80. That you can also test, right? Paste this IP address and port number. You should also see the thing which I have changed it, right? So you should also see this message. Welcome to the world's fastest web server. All right. Are you able to? Anyone can confirm? Can you confirm? Anyone? It's there on the chat.
Yes. We are able to.
Oh, all right. Thank you, guys. All right. So I made some changes, right? Now I'm still inside the container, right? I haven't done commit or anything. Let me do something here also. So I will use apt update, right? As I said, if apt is the shortcut of apt get command only. So let me see apt update I can do. All right. So it has done, right? And then let me do some installation. This time I'll do something different. Right? Last time we installed Apache, this time I'll install some Git application. Let's say apt Git application. Right? Is Git available? Let me check. Git -v doesn't work. So means command would be git version. Git version. So Git is installed here. Right? Git is installed in this application. Right? Git comes by default. I only created last time. Right? We can install any other application. Right? So apt install, right, we can take any application, right? So this application can we install? Which application we can install? We can install anything. Okay, can I install HT password? This is not there. Can I install Python? Python 3 -y. What is the version of Python? Not all the things. Okay, let me install this application. All right, so apt install. Say yes. I didn't mention yes. Let him install. All right, so we are doing this installation inside this Nginx container. So we did this installation inside this Nginx application. All right, so still going on. 99% only done, not 100%. Let him complete. All right, so guys, we can go inside the container and we can do whatever you want. We can do all the actions inside the container. Come on, come on, come on. Is there any error? No error. Why it got stuck at 99%? Come on. All right, I was trying to install pip Python, right? 99% and 1% it got stuck, or I fired some command in between and something really went wrong. That's fine. Let me take the session. Let me take the second session and see. Okay, so Docker PS. So this container running, we were inside this container, Docker exec -it, and my container name is India 123. This is the container name which we gave to Nginx, okay? And dash, I'm here, right? So we verified a couple of things, right? So what we verified? We verified Git was there, so Git -b, unless why Git is not there, apt update. Okay, apt install Git hyphen y. Alright, get version, get is there, pip hyphen v for the Python 3. Some commands for Python 3. No pip, no Python, no Python 3. The installation has not gone well, right? So we made some mistake at the installation. Okay, apt search. Any other package can I install, or let's say Python only.
Can you search by type Python hyphen v capital V?
Okay, sure, I'll do that. It's already loaded with so many things. Let's see. But this session is still stuck. Yes. So I've created another terminal session, right, to this container. That is what I did. It is 88. Why it is so slow? What is the command you said? Python capital hyphen V.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Let me come out and I'll fire that command. Okay, so there are so many installers available. So I was searching the Python installers and I fired that command. Okay, apt search. Alright, so command was Python hyphen capital V. No, it's not there. I think Python 3 I was trying to install now. So this installation has not gone well. Alright, but we have other things, right? And we have customized the our file, right? So all that we have done. Let me exit from here, right? And then what is done? What all things are running? What doing all that thing? So let me remove this container, previous container, and container name was 007. Okay, now if I see docker ps only injection, let me go inside one more time, docker exec hyphen it, and let me use India 123 or container ID, anything is fine. Let me use this container ID. And as I said, always use bash. Okay, so I'm inside this container and then unless I'm able to see last time did we create any folder file? No, we modified that default file index.html file. Okay, so let me display the content of that file. So it was under user path.
Prashant, your screen share has gone.
Yes,
So
yes.
is it?
Screen. Yes, we are.
One second, guys. I saw many problems all of a sudden. Let me reshare it. 1 second. Okay, so stop sharing. No, it's still there. Okay, let me stop and reshare. Share the screen. Share. Okay, I've just shared it. You should be able to see it now.
Yes, yes. We are able.
You are able to, right?
Yes.
Okay. Again, my this got stuck. So because of this guy, we screwed up our Nginx container. I know. Come on, Nginx. Why is it not your day today or what? Is it because of my internet? Everything is gone. Alright, so Docker PS, and we really screwed up this container. I'll remove this container. It's just wasting our time. India, 1, 2, 3. Docker PS hyphen A. Nothing is there. Right. So Docker images, we have this container. Alright, so let me just go ahead and create container from this image. Alright, so this time when I say Docker run, you see it will be very fast. Dit hyphen name, give some name, let's say 001, and port number 80, 80 colon 80, and image is this image and this thing. So let me use ID this time. I'll show you other way. Also copy, paste. So my container started, Docker PS, use type order. Am I hungry or what? I started eating words. Okay, so this is my container 001 we created from this image and just got created 8 seconds ago. Last time we made some changes. Let me refresh because that content is deleted. I haven't committed anything. Alright, so I'll just reload it. So previous changes gone because I haven't committed. Alright, so it will display this thing, right? And now let me go inside this container one more time. So what is the command? Docker exec. So docker exec hyphen it 001 is my container name. I believe yes 001, and then use bash shell. So I'm inside this container, right? 1FBB43, right? This is the container I'm inside. Let me clear the screen and do ls here, right? So we are inside this container. Now if you want to do some installation, right, or create any directory, we will do all that thing again. So previous container I deleted and we recreated, so it should be fine now. apt install, and let me say I want to install Apache 2 here, HTTPD server inside this container. apt install Apache 2, and I will say hyphen yes. Okay, so we did the installation. So I would say now Apache 2 hyphen v, it is installed 2.4.56 version. What about my service? Right, last time we did in different kind of Ubuntu container. This time I did it in Nginx container. Right, and the service name is Apache 2 itself. What is the status? It is not running, right? It started to run, but it is failed, right? Can I start it manually? Can I check the status now? It failed. Why? Because of the port number. Both are running port 80, and this guy also run port 80, right? It couldn't bind on port 80. So in Nginx, we also mentioned port 80, if you remember. Port 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80, 80. Right? We are inside the container. Right? So both are running on port 80. That is the reason it is not taking this port, it is already taken, right? You see, port 80 not able to bind. So this is the error. Let me exit from this guy and say docker ps. You see, we have already used port 80 here. And Apache 2 by default also uses port 80. So it's basically port conflict for this application. It says already in use. Alright, so it's already in use. So we already taken this port for Nginx itself, and that is the reason it is not taking. But you understood what I'm doing, right? So you understood what I'm doing. So let me go inside again this container. We are here, and now apt install. Uh, Anybody know Python? What is a Python installer? Anybody in our batch is aware of Python?
Maybe Python 3.
Python 3. Okay, let's try. Okay, so it has gone well. Can I check Python? Capital B. Now Python 3. Okay, so we did Python installation. What version we installed? Python 3.9.2. Alright, this is what we did installation inside this Nginx container. Now what I will do, I'll exit from here. Alright, and remember, we haven't committed anything. Right, this is the container running from last 4 minutes. And if you see my images, we haven't saved anything. Alright, we haven't saved anything, right? So this is the image which we downloaded, that image, because we haven't changed anything, we haven't committed anything. So we have to commit, right? So docker commit which container? This container. You have to use this container ID. So let me use nginx colon 1.22. This is the container. No, this is the image, not the container. Sorry. Right, we have to use container, right? Which container? This container, or I can use the name 001, right? Let me use container ID this time. All right, paste. All right, and this container is having nginx with Python. So nginx and Python py. All right, and if you want to give some version, we can give some version also. So what was the version? 3.2 something, right? So Python tested 3.9.2. Let me use this same version. 3.9.2. Alright, so I want to commit, but this time I have not used docker id, right? I'll tell you, right? If you make mistake like this, there is a way to correct it and then upload docker images now. So this image I just created, I did a commit, and this image has everything, my Python, all the installer, everything, slightly heavyweight than the previous one, right? So this is the thing. Now if I want to docker login and all that do, right? So docker login, right? It will already succeeded because we already log in and we have not exited. So it is my thing. Now if I just try to docker push this image, it will fail. Why? Because this image doesn't have the ID, my Docker Hub ID. Last time we used this ID, right? So this ID doesn't have. So let me use copy and paste. Okay, push. Right? It will fail, right? It tries to push onto this repository, but this ID it failed because we have to register, right? So what we have to do, if you have made a mistake while saving, while committing the thing, and it committed by this name, you forgot to put your ID, right? So what you can do, we can use one command called docker tag. Docker tag is basically a rename command in Docker, right? So this is my old name. Copy, paste, right? What version? This is the version. All right, 3.9.2. All right, this is the old name. What is the new name? New name supposed to be my ID, and then I can use the same name here, right? And then give some version 3.9.2. Right, so what command I use? Tag command plus the old name and then one space new name. All right, so this new name I've given. So Let's see whether the rename has done or not. So docker tag command is basically a rename command in Docker. So you see we renamed it, right? Exactly everything will be same, right? Your image ID will be same because we are just renaming. We are just making a copy of the thing. I have not changed anything. So image ID, timestamp, and even the size will remain same. Only I'm calling the same old image by a new name. That's it. So Docker tag will create another tag of the same image, right? And this is the thing. Now if I try and push this image, Docker push. If I try and push this image, copy, paste, and what is the tag? 3.9.2. Right? Now let's push. So remember, it has to be your ID. I showed you that also, and how to correct it by using docker tag command. Docker tag is basically a rename command. Alright, so it will just name your image by another name, and this has been pushed. It says, I'll directly go and check on my Docker Hub since we are already here. Let me go back. Okay, let me go back to my repositories. So you see, this Nginx Python is just now less than a minute. It got uploaded here successfully. So we did two images. 1 hour ago, we we pushed starfish image, which was having right my HTTP Apache server. This image we installed Python, all right, and everything is inside this image. Now, whoever will download this image, he will automatically get all the things, right? So let me go here and give some appropriate message. This image is having Python on top of Nginx. Right, if you want to mention version of Nginx or Python, right, you can mention 3.9.2. Any other tag is already there, but we can also mention, right? And this is the tag we use. All right, guys. So you have to do commit. Then only once you do the commit, your changes will be saved in the image format, and that image you can upload. Anybody can download. So in future, if your customer wants some customization in your image, right, you should go inside your previous container, make changes in the container, and upload, create a new image, and upload that new image, and you can give it to customer after your testing. Customer will see all the changes what he expect to see because you already made the changes, and you will also get the same changes, right? So this is how we do everything. But only some rule is you have to be inside the container. When you go inside the container, use the shell, bash shell, right? And then do all the operations because your shell will allow you to fire any commands, right? Any installation, directory create, file creation, anything you can. All right, guys. So this is what we wanted to discuss in this session, and we have taken two use cases, one for Nginx, one for thing. And remember few commands here and there, which I was doing it, right, for something like tag command and all that thing, right? So anyhow, I'll be sending this file, right? History command will help me to do that. Any command, any questions so far, guys? Anyone? Did you understand what I did today? Nobody's talking. What happened today, guys? Tuesday. I know we are busy and it's the beginning of the week.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So I've not done anything great, right? But simple thing and simple things by additional command, docker exec command. So simple thing we did. All right. So this is how we will do all the things in Docker, right? So
So
now
today
whatever
we
we did
learn
today, yeah,
execute and commit mains.
correct.
Yeah.
Main commands, exactly. So only two things, but lot of things we can handle with using these two commands, right? And Docker push command. Remember,
Push
we were
comments.
doing pull, today we'll do push also. All right. And whatever we did today, we will be doing through automation. I'll automate all the process going down, going forward. Once we learn automation, we'll doing the same thing, but in a lot more automated way. Yeah, I think somebody was asking. Yeah, please go ahead. I heard somebody was calling my name. So was there any question from someone? All right. So far we are good for the day. And if you have any question, you can ask me the question. Meanwhile, I'm busy copying some files and all that thing before we end this meeting. Right? You can ask me this question, and I'll be uploading all these things as usual every day. Right? So normally, this is how I'm creating files. Docker commands 27 Jan 29 thing and today's date again I'll put right as a 30th Jan. So this is how we'll be getting all the files and everything right inside the repository. The only thing is if you're not yet registered, please register, and people who have registered, I'll touch base with Visualpath. Right? They'll share all the links and all the details with you guys very soon. All right. And this PPT also has all the steps. So you should not miss out on anything. Right. From my side, I'm giving you everything. All right, guys. So this was the heading of this PPT, right? Docker committing changes with Docker container, right? So committing changes, right? So this is the heading, and you will get this PDF uploaded on our repository along with the today's recorded session. So recording and all these things you will be getting it very soon. All right, guys. Are we good for the day? Before we end this meeting, are we good?
Yes, Prashant, thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Prashant.
All right, guys.
Prashant.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Have a good day, and I'll see you again tomorrow, same time.